Alright, this is grid 6. This will be a longer video because I'm going to go through how to do all 9 drawings. You'll notice that my sheet of paper is in different states of done on purpose so you can see me work and problem solve through this. The first thing that you will notice is I'm going to show you a done box. So the contour line drawing, which will be in your bottom left. The contour line drawing is the simplest one for you to do. You just take your ultra fine tip Sharpie and you go over top of all of your lines. Contour line drawing should all be clean, consistent, and exact, and would include no shading, which should be exactly what you traced into your 9 boxes. Then the next one above that is the outline. This is another really easy one because all you do is go along the outer edge. None of your inside detail would get traced in this box, only the outer edge. Then when you go up to structural lines, sorry, I have to move the camera to get this to fit. So structural lines, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in so you can see kind of the parts that I've done. So structural lines turn all of your lines into angles because that gives it nice clean structure, and it should feel like if a line went missing, like right here, that the design would feel incomplete or almost like it falls apart. In order to make this work, you're going to want to use either this guy or the triangle. And then how I actually do that is I go over top of my curved lines and I decide whether I need to do 1 or 2, and then I can't just let a line hang for structural lines. So I'm going to go ahead and I got to kind of build an interior structure that holds those lines up and gives all of this something to connect to, and then these guys have to come over. I'm thinking that I'll just go straight down. So I'm going to go up and then straight down. And this one, and you're going to have to modify from what was originally there to get it to all work. This guy's going to have to come up and then go over and then go straight down, and you're going to have to chop from what was originally there. Like I'm having to let that little chunk go. So everything feels like the inside of a building. Then once I've completed my drawing, again, I could go see Miss Russell if I want it looked at. Otherwise, I switch out to my ultrafine Sharpie. And then here's how you do this. You just line up your thing and you draw on top of your original lines. You want everything to feel clean and exact. And I wouldn't erase anything until I was done with the whole picture. I'll show you kind of how to do the finishing touches. And I try to not leave my Sharpie sit anywhere too long because it makes that little bump, which I'm not doing a very good job of in this video. And then I would just go around to all those lines and finish it out completely. If you want to see this done, you can see it. It will be up on display in the classroom. Moving down to the bottom middle box. So this one is your calligraphic line where it goes from
probably don't
thick
need
to
to
thin.
move
Your lines anywhere like you did on the structural lines, but you do need to provide weight to your line. So I tend to think of it like water. If water fell on top of my project, where would the water be heaviest or be the most? And wherever it's going to be the most is where it's going to be thin, and wherever it would be the lightest, or excuse me, is where it's going to be thick. And wherever that water would be the lightest, it would be thin. And maybe, like right even here, if there would be no water left on it, you might almost get it into an implied line where you kind of do that dash work. So I recommend going over top of what you've done and kind of draw in the thick or thin boundary that you want to follow. And then once you've drawn in that boundary, going over top of your drawing with your ink. And again, if you want to see a completed version of calligraphic line, you can see the example that this will be hanging up in the classroom. Next is a curved line. This is your very center box. A curved line is different from a calligraphic line because it's kind of swirly and fun, and you almost think of it as stereotypically girly. So it's got loop-de-loops and things like that to it. So what you want to do on this guy is you want to go in and erase all detail and make everything big, solid, swooping curves. You can make them thick to thin if you want, or you can leave them all the same consistency. Okay, you could turn this guy like, you can go outside what you think should be there. And then again, going in with this one. And I first recommend outlining things before you fill them in. So a calligraphy line doesn't avoid the detail, but a curved line does. It just tends to turn into swoopy, girly type of look. Next is a gesture line. This is different from the curved line and from the calligraphic line because it should feel really fluid, and it should be the one that, although it might be the least accurate, looks the most alive. It's the hardest one for you to do because you haven't been trained yet in the Art 1 classroom. So I've left a chunk of it open. Again, just like the calligraphic line, you tend to see your heaviest line wherever the water would collect because that provides weight to your line. So as you go through, you kind of think, if water would let go, then I fan it out as it goes along. It's almost like a scribble. Feels very inaccurate, but it feels really free, so that the object almost seems to become alive. When you switch to your ink, particularly if you don't feel very comfortable, it's almost easier to kind of have those swoopy little lines. And you notice I almost kind of do a scribble as I let go of the line, and I'm not quite worried about where it ends up. I'm more trying to create kind of a feel for the object, and I'm willing to let whatever my hand does be what is. And I'm okay if something's not there or is not accurate. And this is the one that most students need to practice several times before they kind of get good at. So that's your gesture line. Going to the bottom, the implied line is often used in a calligraphic line, and it's often used in a gesture line, but the key point of an implied line is that the line is missing. So you really want to take time with your eraser and go in and get rid of lines, and if you feel like you can't have the line completely gone, then put in little teeny tiny dashes. But you start the line and then you kind of can dash it out, and sometimes it can be helpful to go ahead and make that line thicker and then slowly get it into that dash. So that's where you might get kind of dash work in here. So it might almost feel like you're providing more information than you have in the past on like your different pictures. And then as you draw that out, and you kind of almost let the pencil hover so that it's not a clean, an exact like dash, dash, dash type of thing. Right? So that is your, oops, sorry. That's your implied line. Diagonal line, this is super fun. The secret to diagonal line is that you just can't have it go horizontal or vertical. So it has to in some way angle. So when you come through, you just, if you want to angle somewhere, let's say I have a line that needs to go like this. Oops, you can't see what I'm doing. That needs to go straight. I would instead have to create an angle in there because I can't draw a horizontal or vertical line. So everything gets pivoted. I'll do just a little chunk of this so you can see what it looks like. And you just have to always ask yourself, you know, is my ruler going, like right there I feel like it's a little straight, so I'm going to angle it up, and then I'm going to angle it down to kind of get my effect. And I can't do that, so I got to decide either to go out a little bit more, pull it back in, so everything is at a clip. Like here I had to go really far out, so everything is at a sharp angle. Nothing, like I almost cheated the system here, I think, too much. You don't want to do that. It'll feel too much like a structural line that's missing its structure. So really like own the diagonal. Okay, then the next one is horizontal and vertical. This is fun because it's like you pixelate everything. And so the only rule with horizontal and vertical is that your ruler can only go straight up and down or only go side to side. So if you want to go diagonally, you're going to have to go up and over, up and over, up and over, up, you know, just like it was a pixelated object. And so you can see some of that work that I've done here. And I'll do just, so you'll notice like I had to take out a whole corner there. You kind of got to own that you're making everything blocky. You can't just cheat by doing so much up and over that you don't even notice that it was done. So don't like make the pixels unseeable. Go ahead and just own the fact you're going to have to go outside spaces and cheat your system. Own the fact that you are only going straight up and down or vertically. And then again, you would finish that off with the Sharpie. If you need additional help, please let me know.